Hello and welcome to Shadow Patch Notes, the series where we take the latest patch and discuss all of the hidden tweaks and changes that didn't quite make the spotlight. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. And stick around until the end of the video to see how you can win a Mirai Guardian game package with LTI. Alright, let's jump right in. The Decon Pens for treating radiation have finally had their colors changed in-game. They are now a distinguished yellow instead of a confusing red. Atlas mechs can now spawn directly on the freight elevator. It's a dream come true. Just a heads up, you will not be able to walk it off right away, so you'll have to move it with a tractor beam at first to get it going. The Argo Atlas now snaps onto the Argo Raft cargo grid. It looks pretty funny dangling there. Because the Atlas snaps to regular ship grids, it's likely that the very foundation of the Atlas itself was changed to be more like cargo. So it doesn't really bode well for the idea of vehicle spawning being right around the corner, but we'll see. We got a new combat mech suit this patch, the Atlas IKTI. You can find the base version at the new Lazarus sites. They'll be behind some locked doors that require a large Hathor-style battery to open. They're sporting some laser repeaters with plenty of ammo, and are equipped with ballistic glass in the front for the pilot. If you're looking for something a bit spicier, the turn-in reward from Wikelo grants you an IKTI with a jump pack, similar to the one found on the Geo. I believe the trade-in requires you to turn in a regular IKTI along with a few items.
You can find new battle vehicles that can only be earned in-game.
Wikelo trades have been updated to include things like Valakaar pearls. There was a bit of drama with the favors no longer being scripts, but that was since reverted. We got our first look at the Apollo interior. It looks really nice so far. Personal storage was added to the Ballista. You can find it inside right next to the weapon rack. The Ballista torpedoes were also buffed to be usable at closer range. Refining times at stations have been shortened. Shout out to all my Pharaon solution enjoyers out there. What used to take an hour should now be done in about 18 minutes. A new medium detonation range was added to torpedoes. No more bum fire shots on Idrises. On the bright side, you won't be damaging yourself anymore, at least. They also increased the minimum lock range for missiles. This is an inadvertent nerf to the Firebird, which loved getting in close with stealth. Distortion damage was added to bombs. You can now use your distortion guns, and even EMP blasts to stop incoming artillery. This is an interesting addition, as it comes right after the arrival of bombing capabilities for a bunch of ships like the Gladius. The MISC Starlancer ships both received some speed buffs. The TAC was buffed a bit more percentage-wise, but the max is still just a bit faster. The Prowler got a nice wave of buffs for its survivability. The numerous buffs to shield and hull HP are very welcome following the release of the Asgard dropship. I was hoping the new variant would be something cool and unique, like a mech suit dropship similar to the one in Edge of Tomorrow. But nope, it's just another cargo ship. It seems coolers were modified in this patch. Size 1 and 2 coolers were nerfed, while Size 3 and 4 coolers were buffed. Shield regen rates were modified as well, although I couldn't really find much rhyme or reason to these changes. Some new short hairs were added for the character customizer. Receding hairlines were also added for all my day 1 backers out there. The man turrets on the Idris received some movement buffs. You should be able to track fighters a bit better now. The Asgard cross-section was reduced to 30k. It had an issue where the cross-section was massive on release. The Valkyrie cross-section was lowered as well. As I'm sure you all know, dynamic weather has hit the PU, and is a focal point of the new event. You can see the puddles appear dynamically on the ground. It looks awesome. Aside from the new permanent storm locations on Pyro 1, you can also experience this on Pyro 4, and at cities like Lorville and Arccorp for some Blade Runner vibes. Here's a clip of Echobit racing in the rain through Lorville. Radiation has also made its way into the game finally. You can see a new icon for it at the bottom left of your screen. It seems you can catch radiation sickness from too much exposure. The rads can cause tier 3, 2, and 1 injuries. All medbeds will now protect players from damage for a small amount of time after respawning, 30 seconds or so after leaving the bed. This was done to help when respawning at the new event location, as well as adding multiple exterior buildings with individual medbeds. Ladies and gentlemen, the APEX SANDWORM is here, although this one is more like a radworm. Just to be clear though, while this is technically an APEX Valakaar, it isn't the APEX Valakaar. This one is a weaker, irradiated worm that was probably lab grown. For the purpose of this event, it has significantly reduced health and damage values. The real raid boss version, as seen in Sitcon, is still to come later on. For this event, you and some friends will have to take it down with FPS gear and Atlas IKTIs. Some irradiated Kopion were added to the mix as well. All irradiated creatures now provide irradiated collectibles, similar to their normal counterparts. Mr. Kraken put out a really nice one-page guide for the new event. I highly recommend you check it out. In a nutshell, you have to go grab some keys from a facility on Pyro 4, which will require you to switch into a lab outfit, so you want to have someone on the squad ready to do that. Then fly out to Pyro 1 and brave the storm. By that, I mean land your ship and take a tram. If you try to fly in, your ship will crash. There are 10 locations for the first part on Pyro 4 and 6 locations for the second phase on Pyro 1. In the end, you'll find a literal Easter egg, which triggers the Alaskan bullworm. Good luck, hunters. Oh!
Look at it!
Oh! The original Mirai Guardian had its cockpit altered to match that of the new Guardian MX. If you bought the Guardian MX, be aware that some of the skins are bugged across chassis with the original version. It actually looks kinda goofy. A new scanning UI was added to the game. The icon on the left shows your field of view, which you can adjust with scroll wheel. The icon on the right shows your scanning status. Some new additions have made their way to in-game shops. Controller flight blades were added to shops and are no longer available on the Pledge store. You can find them at component shops and stance and landing zones. They have both the speed and maneuverability options in stock. At the Omega Pro shop in Microtech, an average small ship like the Gladius or Avenger series will run you about 250 credits each, whereas medium ships like the Redeemer will run you back 1.5 mil. And a large ship like the Hammerhead, we're talking 4 million credits. You guys think it's worth it? Bolt shotgun mags have been added to shops. The shotgun itself is present in game as well. You can find them at the new Lazarus locations, in a locked room near the exit just before the runway to the Apex. It's really powerful, and fires a slug after it heats up. As a side note, the R97 shotgun was nerfed, probably to let this new gun shine. The new environmental suit was added to shops too. It'll have you looking like the Michelin Man. I found them at the armor vendor at Checkmate. It's pretty large, but provides less damage reduction than other heavy armors. We even got a couple of variants in game that you can find in the loot pool. Which one is your favorite? As for vehicles, the Atlas Geo is now available in shops. Now that everyone will be PvP bottlenecking each other in Pyro, it may be a good time to play through Hathor if you haven't already. In an interesting move, the Mirai Guardian, the Super Hornet Mark II, and the Mist Fortune were all added to Wikelo instead of in-game shops. As always, they come with some new Banu-style skins. While I do appreciate more Wikelo gameplay, I do think the ship should also go into the store. What do you guys think? If you were curious about the previous set of hazmat suits that were added to the game last year, they unfortunately don't appear to provide any sort of radiation protection, nor can you breathe with them in space. It's actually not even considered armor, but still clothing. Bit of a missed opportunity here if you ask me. Swapping armors has been improved. When you change your chest piece, all items equipped to your exterior should swap over automatically now. Then you can just add whatever new stuff you want manually. The same thing applies to the legs as well. Ship Turbulence has been added to the game. Now when hovering in an area with gravity, you'll see your ship bob and weave a bit to keep itself lifted. I'm hoping that this will affect capital class ships much more proportionally in the future, because I've already seen a lot of nose-down Idrises personally. The Gatak Syulen received a 50% reduction to physical damage. Quick announcement for y'all. This year's Bar Citizen is making a stop near me in Tampa, Florida, and I'll be there in person for my very first Bar Citizen event. If any of you happen to be in the Florida area next month, be sure to come by and say hi so we can chat all things Star Citizen. See you there. And that'll do it for this episode of Shadow Patch Notes. So, are any of these changes news to you? What do you think of the new Atlas IKTI? Are you going to try to take on the APEX Valakaar, or wait for the hype to die down? Leave a comment below and let me know. And if you're interested in the game package giveaway, just be a subscriber here on YouTube and head on over to my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/the5star, where you can find the link to enter. Come on by and say hi. Alright, everybody. I'll catch you on the flip flop. Peace out.